Hello, 7-footers. Welcome back. Second episode of 2019. Jarod and Jenna here.
Episode 9, Jenna. We're cranking.
We are cooking, baby. Like Harden on a good night,
Let me
which
tell
is
you,
every night.
Yo, that's a bad man.
He's a bad man.
I'm like cooking.
Don't worry, we will get to him because let us tell you guys right now that this is a special episode of the 7-footers because we will roll through the NBA's hottest headlines of the week, but we are also going to do the Midseason Awards.
Yep, NBA Midseason Awards, 7-footer style.
And the 7-footers aren't giving out actual awards. Jarod and Jenna are going to fight, per usual, over our picks, and I actually let Jarod pick his, and then I peeked at them, and then I didn't tell him mine.
You see how she does, folks? Always looking at my stuff, cheating on off my homework, and then thinking she got better answers. But we'll see. We'll get to that.
Oh, please. Somebody's still scarred from grade school. All right. We have so much to get to, so let's jump right in here. The Golden State Warriors. I feel like we kick off a lot of episodes with them, but, I mean,
listen,
after last night's performance
they
against the Nuggets, 142 to 111. Are you kidding me? First of all, with that, okay? 30-14, best team in the West after all the quote-unquote drama that we got over with KD and Draymond Green, which I told you guys I predicted will happen again. It's just a matter of time. So, okay. Anyway, they smoked the Nuggets on Tuesday night.
Yeah, last night.
January 15th. Okay. Let's just roll through the stat line a little bit here. Steph Curry, 31 points. Klay Thompson, 31. KD, 27. They set so many records here, okay? The Warriors set a franchise record for 3 points in a quarter with 10, and an NBA record with points in a first quarter with 51. I mean, gosh.
You know, this Warriors squad, when they're on full tilt, this is what they look like. When they actually care and they try, this is kind of what it looks like, right?
It's kind of like they get together some days and they're like, you know what, guys, let's do it tonight. Let's
try
have
tonight.
fun and let's see what happens.
Well, I think a large part of that, Jenna, was the Nuggets had beaten them earlier in the year, and that game was also at Denver, I believe, and they were celebrating, they were excited, and look, Denver's a team that's up and coming. They've been holding on to the number 1 seed in the Western Conference for most of the first half of the season. By the way, we are already halfway through the season. People don't even realize that. Most teams have already played more than 41 games.
We're
said
talking
after
43. Christmas.
Yeah, listen.
This is it.
It's not early anymore, folks. It's midway. And the Nuggets were feeling really good about that win, but it was an early game. The Warriors didn't try. And I think collectively they all got together in the locker room. They were like, yo, so Denver felt really good about beating us last time. All right. Why don't we just, try to really step on their throats early and see how they respond to it. And, that's essentially what happened. I mean, the Warriors came out and they were smoking. Durant was cooking from the start.
Klay was
dunking, hitting threes. Curry was doing his thing. I mean, they were 83 points in a half. I mean, it was
out of control.
They were nuts.
Can we say?
They were nuts. But again, this is what happens when you have, 3 of the greatest shooters the history of this league's ever seen, right? You figure Steph, Klay, probably the 2 greatest shooters of all time. KD, probably the best scorer of the basketball we've ever seen in the NBA, right? Can score from multiple levels. 3, mid-range, foul line, get to the rim, do it all.
He can do it all.
And, when these guys, again, when they're on full tilt, well, this is what happens. But, I feel like we need to caution ourselves, right? And not get too excited.
Well, that was my question to you, Jarod. Do we need to pump the brakes on the Warriors have solidified a title? Have they hit their ceiling? What is there even a ceiling for the Warriors at this point?
I mean, the ceiling for them is literally when they are engaged on both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively.
Clicking on all cylinders.
On all cylinders, you cannot beat this team 4 times out of 7.
And they smoked the Nuggets last night, and Boogie Cousins isn't even back yet,
right.
a.k.a. he has to return on Friday.
Yeah, Boogie's back on Friday against the Clippers.
Yes.
But here's the thing.
Okay. Alrighty then.
Let's add another all-star to the mix. By the way, that's going to be a challenge for them. They're going to have to figure out, because, again, you're adding another high-volume, high-usage guy. There's only so many shots in a game. So those guys are going to get less shots now because Boogie's got to pick up and get shots. So it's going to
incorporate him in.
Exactly. It's going to take some time. And as great as last night was, The Warriors are not going to play 16 games like that in the postseason and sweep everybody and go to the NBA Finals. Remember, again, I know we talk about this all the time. It seems like a sense of inevitability when you see the Warriors do something like this. But they were forced to 7 games last year by the Houston Rockets. They are arguably a Chris Paul injury away from not going to the NBA Finals.
They were.
Now, granted, there doesn't seem to be, at least in the Western Conference, a clear-cut team who can challenge them as much as the Rockets did. The Rockets, as well as James Harden's playing right now, they have so many injuries. They're problematic right now. Capella's really out. Chris Paul's out. 6 weeks, I mean, they just have a lot of injuries on that team. So it's going to be tough. And Eric Gordon's out. It's going to be tough for them to do much. I mean, Harden's playing incredible, but he can only do so much. Right?
Exactly. And we talked about this before.
Right. The
Same
Nuggets,
story.
A great team, but the Nuggets are young. Now they're getting their guys back. Barton, Gary Harris Jr. Look, they're going to be okay, but this is still a step for them. They didn't make the postseason last year. So this will be their first postseason play. Like, we'll have to see how they react to a team getting ready to scout them every night. How does Jokic come back after a bad performance? Those types of things. Oklahoma City, while they are extremely good on the defensive end, they don't score enough.
Exactly.
So I worry about their shooting come playoff time. So while the Western Conference was like, yeah, this, and this, the Warriors look like they are the best team in the Western Conference. The question is if anyone can challenge them in the Eastern Conference.
Amen, and that's all she wrote. So let's move on to the Philadelphia 76ers because this was a big night, especially for Jimmy Butler. On January 15th, he beat his former team, the Timberwolves.
The Timber Puppies came back. They were back in town, huh?
Oh, they were back in town, okay? And they were disappointing fans all over the place. Okay, let's break this down here a little bit. So the Timberwolves fell behind double figures, okay?
Early.
Yeah, not even halfway through the first quarter, okay? Yeah. They never even got closer after that. They gave up 83 points in the first half and lost by 42.
Yeah.
Now, and the score was 149, 107. I mean, everybody had a great night. Joel Embiid put up 31. Ben Simmons flirted with a triple-double. I mean, it was out of control. Timberwolves, Karl Anthony Towns was quiet when he should have been the loudest going against Jimmy Butler.
Should have been.
I mean, Derrick Rose, 15 points, but it wasn't enough. 42-point loss here, okay? I mean, and the trolling after the game. Let's just jump right into it. Joel Embiid starts us off with, quote-unquote, it was an honor to be part of the third stringers and get a win against real NBA starters, he tweeted. Jimmy Butler replies with crying emojis. Butler then posts a pic of him on the offensive end against a T-Wolves defender and says, looking right through the past to the future. That's out of control.
This is what we love about the NBA. This league is so petty, and these guys are so petty.
Beyond.
And they love using social media to troll each other, but it's all in good fun.
Oh, of course.
Listen, we talked about this before, and the story is legendary. For those of you that don't know, Jimmy Butler was a member of the Timberwolves. Famously demanded and forced his way out of town because he wasn't happy with Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. And he had that infamous day during training camp where he shows up to practice late, doesn't even stretch or warm up, gets the third string guys, teams up with them and beats the starters, right? The whole time barking out, you guys need me. You can't win without me.
It was actually, Jarod, you effing need me.
Well, I mean, listen, I was trying to keep it PG
up in here.
But, look, Jimmy is Jimmy, and that's what he does, and it is what it is, man. The Timberwolves, for the talent they have, right, and we talk about it all the time, Karl Anthony Towns has the talent to be a future MVP in this league. He does.
Absolutely.
Andrew Wiggins might be the most talented and gifted player in the NBA. But, some days he scores 49 points, other days he scores 0 points. I mean, that's just who he is. And that drove Jimmy crazy. And, of course, he could have handled it a lot better. But, it was what it was. And, listen, that squad is what they are. The Timberwolves have talent and should be a lot better. But they are who they are. And this is Jimmy and the guys on Philly wanted this for him. And you could see, and they showed out. And they put those guys to bed.
Number one, in my opinion, the Timber Puppies, so much potential, but like we said, there's no consistency there. And with no consistency, you're not going to make it to the playoffs or far in the playoffs, okay? Second of all, speaking of handling things better, Did the Sixers handle their offense better, seeing as there was rumors rumbling that Jimmy Butler had issues with basically less minutes being played and not having enough offensive time?
Well, listen, they look great. Look, winning cures everything, and it looks good right now. But keep an eye on that situation in Philly. Listen, they lose 3 out of 4. Jimmy gonna start chirping again because that's who Jimmy is.
All right.
So, and as we talked about last week, those pieces don't quite fit right in Philly, right? They're just, because again,
not enough shooting.
Well, we lament the point every time we talk, but Simmons and his lack of shooting ultimately will be a problem. They're gonna make the playoffs, of course they are, but it'll bear itself out come playoff time. Again, no back-to-backs in the playoffs. You play the same team night after night, well, every other night, or sometimes 2 nights off. Coaches scheme specifically for these guys. Well, when I have time to scheme just for you, we expose all your flaws and your weaknesses. And not being able to shoot is a big weakness. So,
and like you said, and this shouldn't be something that we should have to remind people of, but just bring up the point that, like you said, there are no back-to-backs. So there is no room for flaw and error in the playoffs.
Right. Got that right.
Exactly. So we'll have to wait and see about that. And speaking of error, there's a lot of them in Boston. You love my segues today?
Your segues are you're crushing the segue game today.
It's like they are set up perfectly. Okay, the Boston Celtics are playing extremely poorly. Okay, they lost their last 3 in a row. Gave up 44 points in just the third quarter alone to the Nets on Monday night.
I was at that game, yeah.
You were at that game, yes. They're, like we said, their third loss in a row. Kyrie Irving, the self-proclaimed or self-wanted leader of that team, which we'll get to that, is chirping on his own as well, and went off on a rile of quotes, basically calling out, or seemingly calling out the younger guys, saying, hey, we're not winning.
Right.
I've been to finals. I've been at crunch time moments.
Right.
We need to step it up. I mean, some of the quotes that I'm looking at, they're quite long, so I'm not going to read them all, but, we've got to be better. I've got to be better. We've got to win these games on the road. That's on me as a leader to help us get there. And he pointed out, which I thought it was a good point, and I think you would too, that last season, and we've already talked about this before Kyrie even spoke up, last season the Celtics, they didn't have expectations. They didn't have a ceiling of sorts because they never made it that far. They were winning and they were loving it. It was a victory every night for them because of the small hurdles.
Yep.
Now going into this season, you have Hayward back, you have Kyrie back, and now there are more expectations, rightfully so.
Sure.
And Kyrie Irving, as a leader, he went to Boston because of one of the reasons he wanted to be a leader. I think he has points here. I really do. And I don't think there's time for sensitivity when it comes down to this. And you're laughing at me because Kyrie Irving is, everybody knows, my favorite player in the NBA. But he has points. Mr. I wanted to be a leader is leading. And he's saying, come on.
Okay, so...
okay, here we go.
Hold on, let's back up for a minute. I agree with a lot of the points that you're making, but let's really dive into this right now.
I know, I'm ready. I am ready, honey.
So, listen, when she starts with the honey, that's how you know.
That's when you know I am ready.
So, Kyrie, and I said this to start the season. Everybody, the preseason prognosticators, all the smart NBA people said...
That vocab.
Oh... The Celtics were 1 game away from, they were in Game 7 against LeBron James and Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Hey, we had Kyrie and Gordon Hayward to that mix because they were out last year. We're going to the NBA Finals. We can win 60-plus games. We can challenge the mighty Golden State Warriors. Well, it is January. As I mentioned, we are halfway through the season, a little bit more than half.
Okay, here he goes. I see him looking at his computer. He's about to pull up these numbers.
All I'm saying is they're 25-18, a perfectly good record, well above 500.
Okay.
They're the second best net rating, or tied for the second best net rating in the league with the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
Behind the Milwaukee Bucks, who are killing it right now.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. And I said, everyone needs to just slow down. And I said that because last year you had a rookie Jason Tatum, you had Marcus Smart, Terry Rozier, second or third year player in Jaylen Brown. You had these young guys stepping up and playing more minutes. And I said, and you remember I said, when Kyrie and Gordon comes back, you think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are going to be like, oh, cool, Kyrie, Gordon, you're back. You guys go ahead and take the lead. We'll just sit back in the background.
You did call this. Oh, I forgot about it.
So there's that. But here's the thing that I said.
Okay.
Because everyone, as you know, loves to think of Brad Stevens as the inventor of basketball, the genius. He's the greatest coach since sliced bread. And my thing has always been, I don't think Brad's a bad coach. Brad's top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
But there's more to coaching than just X's and O's. There is ego management, player management, getting guys to buy into their roles. Well, so far, doesn't seem like Brad has a handle on that. Because, and this is where I'm going to come at your boy, Kyrie has a point in what he's saying. Look, he is the one who's been to an NBA Finals. He hit one of the more iconic shots in the history of NBA Finals over Steph Curry to win a Game 7. Okay? This is a guy who's performed on the highest stages. None of them on that team can say that. He's done it. That's a fact.
Just wanted that point out there.
However, as a leader, you cannot call your teammates out in public through the media.
I agree.
That's not the way to do it.
I agree.
And the same thing, because that's his issue that he had with LeBron when he was in Cleveland, if you remember. That was his big reason for wanting to get away from LeBron. I want to do my own thing and not have to deal with that. Well, he's doing the same thing to those guys on the Celtics.
Yeah.
So he can't lead that way. And he came out the other day and said, he's like, I can't call my team out like that in the media. That was wrong of me. Yep. I won't be doing that again.
He cleared the air.
Because you're going to cause division in the locker room and strife and all that.
Exactly.
What I'm saying is, in Boston, it isn't, oh, Kyrie's fault, oh, Tatum, oh, Brown, oh, this, oh, that. It is a little bit of everything. Kyrie's been playing exceptionally well. He needs to be a better leader in terms of getting his guys motivated, helping Brad get guys to buy into their role. Brad needs to get control of this team and say, hey, guys, our goal is X.
Yeah.
This is how we're going to get there. Mm-hmm. These are the defined roles on this team. You either buy in or we're going to find somewhere else for you to be, because clearly you don't want to be a part of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
The other thing that's often not reported enough, Al Horford has been injured. And Horford is such a key to how they play. You know, Horford's that kind of guy where his stats won't wow you, but everything he does is so critical to Boston's success.
Absolutely, especially down in the paint, yeah.
And he's been hurt, so he hasn't been playing as well. And look, Tatum has taken a little bit, not even a step back. He's been playing fine. The problem is, based on how he performed in the playoffs last year, everyone assumed, oh, Tatum's going to just do another leap and become an All-NBA guy. How many times do I say this? Young players don't do linear progressions. You don't rise like this. There are ups and downs. That's just how it goes. And Jaylen Brown has taken a little bit of a step back. So look.
Yeah.
I say all that to say, I do not see this team winning 60-plus games based on where their record is right now. And I don't think they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, I'm sorry. I just don't. Like, I take Toronto and Milwaukee over them right now. Look, it's all matchup based. If they get the right matchups in the first 2 rounds, yeah, they'll get to the Eastern Conference Finals. But I don't love what I'm seeing right now. And this whole idea of Boston's going to win the finals, I'm like, guys, there's levels to this. And what I would love to see, if let's say they get back to the Eastern Conference Finals again, but they lose. Well, then what? The talk was, wait till we add Kyrie and Gordon. Well, you added Kyrie and Gordon. And you're in the same spot you were last year. So that's all I'm saying is, if I was a Celtics fan, there are little things I'd be concerned about. You know, again, there's blame to go around. It's not on Kyrie only. It's not on Tatum only. It's on everybody.
I completely agree with that point as well. Should he have spoken out in public that way? Absolutely not. That is not what a leader does.
No.
But this is also, and you know I have to say this, you know, come on. But truthfully, this is Kyrie's moment, and it is a learning moment for him too, because this is his first time being a leader. He comes off of injury. He didn't have that experience with those guys.
No, he didn't.
So I'm sure behind closed doors, they are thinking and talking about that as well. Hey, we were there. You weren't.
Exactly.
You might have been there with the Cavs.
Right, but you weren't there with us.
But you weren't there with us.
Exactly.
So, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, I'm sure everybody's human. That had to be chippy in the locker room as well.
Listen, you don't get into the NBA without a sizable ego.
Actually, absolutely. You get into the NBA with a chip on your shoulder.
We say this all the time. There are only 450 NBA players. Do you know how good you have to be at basketball, but how good you think you are at basketball to make it to that level? No, they all think they're incredible, and they all are because they're in the NBA. But,
They are.
So there's a lot of subjugation of ego and buying into things. And the big thing, too, and I say this, it's not my thing. It's Bill Simmons wrote this in his book of basketball. And it was basically Isaiah Thomas talked about it. And he was talking about the Pistons team when they traded Adrian Dantley and they got Mark Aguirre instead. Dantley was a better player, but Aguirre was the better fit. And that's what Thomas basically said. Was Adrian Dantley a better player? Yeah. But Aguirre was a better fit for our team, and that's how we won the championship. And Simmons calls it the secret of basketball. And the secret of basketball is it's not actually about basketball, right? It's about chemistry and fit, right? That's what gets teams over the top, right? Can guys subjugate their egos and buy into a larger thing? That's also the reason why, and we talk about this all the time, why it's very hard for teams to stay at the top of the mountain and win consistently year over year over year. Because you win one, and as Pat Riley coined it, the disease of more starts setting in. Then you're like, well, I should be getting up more shots. I should be the man on this team. I should be and then this is how these things happen. So it doesn't last forever. That's just how, because that's human nature. That's just who we are as people. So,
I'm glad we got that all on tape because that will literally get you in for a GM role. Thank you. But really quick before we move on.
I'm available. Anybody looking for a GM?
That's right. Before we move on from the Celtics, because obviously this raises some questions, okay?
Yes, yeah.
We already talked about roles.
Yeah.
Is this a role problem? I do believe it is a role problem.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know their roles. And you know what? I'm not making excuses for the Celtics, but with a roster that deep, Brad needs to step in, and Kyrie also needs to lead in a different way and say, hey, like you said, these are the roles that we're playing. This is how we're going to win. Let's lock it down, and that's it. Now, my question is, I know everybody will yell that it's too early to be talking about this, but I don't care. It's 2019. This rocks the boat a little bit, or seemingly behind closed doors, and obviously in front of the media as Kyrie put it out there for all of us. Thank you, Kyrie. Is this a foreshadow that he may not be in a Celtics jersey in 2019 when Kyrie Irving, dare I say, is a free agent?
Funny that you should ask that, Jenna.
That was my own question, by the way, everybody. That was my question.
Funny you should ask that because I said to you, do you remember when Kyrie, it was earlier in the season, he was doing some kind of event, and he was at the Boston Garden, at the TD Garden.
Yes, and he stood up with that microphone
and
in
he
his
said,
hand.
I want to re-sign with this squad, I want to be back.
I will, yep.
All that jazz. But.
You dissected that.
And what did I say? If Danny doesn't offer Kyrie the max, that is his out.
It is.
Because Kyrie believes he's a max player. So, because someone out there will pay him a max.
I would.
So, we know how you feel about Kyrie. So, if Danny doesn't offer a max, guess what? That's his out to be like, you know what? And if things go kind of rocky and they don't make the Eastern Conference Finals and
Danny Ainge doesn't care.
Listen,
about making a move. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm saying is let's not book it that Kyrie's going to be a member of the Celtics going forward, okay? And all this prediction of the Celtics are going to dominate the Eastern Conference over the next 10 years as well as great young talent. We sure about that? Listen, things turn on a dime in this league. And I'm going to use this example because I always use them. It's actually two of them. Orlando Magic, back in the day when they had Penny and Shaq. They went to their first finals, got swept by the Rockets, but it was like, don't worry, these guys will be back, blah, blah, blah. Never again. Oklahoma City Thunder had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. Went to the NBA Finals in 2012. They were like, don't worry, guys. We lost to the Miami Heat in 5. We'll be back. This team's going to run the West for years. Harden traded. Durant left via free agency. All you got is Russ left. Haven't been back to the NBA Finals since. Listen, man.
All MVPs.
These things are the margins are so thin. One move here, one injury here, one disagreement here, and things change like that.
Oh.
And hey, is what it is, man. So.
Is what it is. It is what it is. There's something else that is what it is, but I don't understand what it is. And that would be the Dallas Mavericks, reportedly by Woj, wanting to trade Dennis Smith Jr.
Yeah.
One of their young talents that's been a pillar for Dallas.
Well,
but now that we have Luka, we haven't really heard much about Dennis Smith Jr. So Woj says they're escalating discussions to find a trade for him, and Phoenix and Orlando are reportedly engaging in ongoing talks. So, and we noted that he sat out 3 straight games, sore back.
Illness. We're back.
Oh my goodness. Some things are getting chippy in here. He's a young guard, major potential. I mean, first of all, I was shocked by this. What are your thoughts on this? And then I'm going to ask you, okay, if he's on the trading block,
right. Where's
speaking of fit, where does he fit in?
Okay, so I was not shocked when I heard this.
I was.
Once they got Luka, I was like, oh, DSJ ain't long for Dallas, baby. Because here's the thing. Well, because here's the thing. Luka is a point forward / I mean, he plays the 1, the 2, the 3, whatever. Luka's the primary ball handler. Well, if he's the primary ball handler, what's Dennis Smith Jr. doing?
He's on the bench with a sore back.
Right? He's not a great catch and shoot 3 guy, because that's the thing. If Luka's the guy handling the ball, DSJ's going to be more off ball. Well, he's not very good off ball. So what is he doing? And he doesn't do, so he needs to have the ball in his hand. Well, the problem is he doesn't do as well with the ball in his hands as Luka does, right? Luka's a better decision maker, better shooter.
That's rough.
But he's still a young player. He's 21, 22. So there's still potential that he has. So the question is, what can Dallas get back for him? Because remember, in getting Luka Doncic in the draft, Dallas will likely not have their draft pick this year in the upcoming draft. That was part of the trade to Atlanta to get Luka. So Dallas is like, well, hell, we got to try to make the playoffs or do something because this isn't good for us.
Yeah.
So, DSJ, or Phoenix, dumpster fire over there. Orlando, I don't know what they're doing. It's been scuttlebutted and rumored a lot. I like them going to the Knicks. You get back Tim Hardaway Jr. You get back.
Is he a good fit in Dallas?
Hardaway Jr. would be a great fit because with him and Harrison Barnes, they can all play off Luka, right? Hardaway Jr. is putting up good numbers as the number 1 offensive option in New York. He's not a number 1 option, but on Dallas, he wouldn't have to be a number 1 option, right? Because Luka's there. So I think he'd have his efficiency will go up, and he'll have better scoring nights. He'll be able to facilitate better off ball. It'll just be a better fit, I think, in general, than having DSJ. They can also possibly unload that Wesley Matthews contract, which is problematic for Dallas. I mean, there are a couple different options there, I think, but DSJ is not going to go any further on this current Dallas Mavericks squad. And look, he and Carlisle also, they've been butting heads, and Carlisle's very tough on his point guards. And look, DSJ knows if this guy's coming in, he's a rookie behind me, and the coach is already favoring him in late game situations, it's not a good look for me.
Exactly.
It's like being in college and you're a sophomore or a junior, and you got the starting spot, and some freshman comes in and takes it. Yeah. You better transfer because you ain't.
Exactly. And
you're not getting that spot back.
It's not a good feeling, honestly, for his ego or for his confidence. No. So you know what? If I were him, I wouldn't even be upset. I would just be like, hey, let me go. Let me go help a team do what I know how to do, and a coach that's going to have more confidence in me. And I'm not bashing Coach.
We're not bashing Carlisle.
Dallas,
it's just like,
he's going with what he's got. And right now, Luka's the best.
It's Luka.
And meanwhile, in Atlanta, they're kicking themselves. But then again, they got Trey, so we Gucci? Okay.
Are we Gucci with Trey?
Hey, you know how I feel about Trey Young. Don't hate.
Ain't nobody hating, just speaking facts.
Okay. Let's move on here because we had a little scuffle with Portland's Nurkic and Sacramento's Iman Shumpert. I mean, things got a little chippy on the floor. Shump got chippy with Coach. Shump got teed up. Shump got chippy with Nurkic.
Nurkic laid him out with that screen.
Well, he was complaining that it was a quote-unquote dirty screen. Dame Wade in the post-game said it wasn't a dirty screen. And reports claimed that Shump, who I happen to have a great relationship with, rushed the locker room.
She texted him like, Shump, were you going to fight?
I'm not joking. We always tweet. I'm going to be like, yo, what's up? But seriously, they claimed he rushed the locker room to confront Nurkic. He claims he didn't. He's got no beef. It's all about him feeding off energy. He just wanted to have a conversation between two men.
Just talk it out.
But Nurkic must have hung out with Joel Embiid because in the post-game interview, he said, I just said what I said, in his accent, of course. I'm not worried about him. I'm not worried about a guy who's going into retirement soon. Yikes. Talk about it. Skip the battle. He signed the war papers there, baby.
Yo, that was...
Come on, Nurk. That was below the belt.
Nurk, that was an expert level burn by Nurk. Woo, that was...
Look at you feeding into this.
All I'm saying, I mean, is Shumpert close to retirement? Only 28?
He's not. That's the point. That was the ultimate dig. It was below the belt. I didn't like that.
Nurk, listen, these guys, NBA loves this stuff, man. This is what these guys do.
I know.
This is what makes this the best league in the world. We say it all the time.
Oh.
These guys they just go at each other like through Twitter and social media and these digs. It's just fun, man. It just adds spice to the on-court play, which, by the way, has been phenomenal.
Oh, gosh. I mean, as we wrap up, this first segment of ours, we just really need to recognize how, and know I'm going to say this, and a lot of people would think I'm crazy, but we need to, take into account how lucky we are that we're witnessing such great basketball right now.
It's fantastic.
I mean, from a ton of teams that I honestly, I'm not going to lie, slept on real hard.
Sacramento Kings.
Yes, the Sacramento Kings, incredible improvements.
Right. The Clippers. I mean,
the Clippers. Doc Rivers doing well with them. Kudos to him and the Nets.
The Brooklyn Nets.
You must be so proud.
As it stands right now, playoff-bound Brooklyn Nets. Listen, as you know, we are objective journalists. I don't root for anybody, but as someone that covers the Brooklyn Nets, it would be really nice, Jenna, if they make the playoffs, because I would love to cover some playoff games.
Do you have a +1?
We'll see what we can do on that. We'll work it out. Sure, I got a list of people being like, yo, man, hook me up.
All right. All right. Here we go to the most exciting portion of this episode. Okay, are you ready?
Listen, it is.
We are halfway through the NBA season. And what are we doing, Jarod?
Mid-season awards, baby.
Yes, baby.
Woo!
All right. Now, we have a list right here.
Yeah.
Do we want to save our MVPs for last?
No, let's do them.
All right.
Let's do them right in that order. We'll go MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and then Most Improved.
You got it. All right, MVP, give it to me. And we already know who our MVP picks are
Okay,
probably.
I just want to say.
At this point.
We know that beginning of the season, in my preview, I picked Giannis Antetokounmpo to be the MVP.
At the end of the season.
Yes.
This is midseason.
Right.
So you're entitled to change your opinion.
Giannis is still right there, but I have to give the edge right now to Harden.
Right. All right.
This man is on another level.
Next level.
He is carrying basically a bunch of G Leaguers to, because look.
Literally, they brought up people from the G League.
He doesn't, Capella's out, Gordon's out, Paul's out.
Yep.
And he is putting up numbers that are historic. Listen, so the argument has always been who the greatest two guards in the history of the NBA are, right? Everyone, of course, Michael Jordan, number one, duh, everybody knows that. And it's always been Kobe, right, number two, then Wade and whatever. I'm going to put this out there right now, 7-footers family. It'll be a hot opinion topic.
I don't even know what this is,
but I don't care. I'm already going to say it right now, and I'm going to be very clear about what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a better overall player, but James Harden is a better offensive player than Kobe Bryant. Considerably better.
Well, I'm about to lose a host, so start sending your applications in right now.
Listen, what Harden's able to do from behind the three-point line, getting to the free throw line, he's insane. Look, this season alone, 34.8 leads the league in scoring, right? Mm-hmm. He's shooting 37% from three, almost 38% on basically 13 threes a game. That is ridiculous. Ridiculous. 51% from 2-point, getting to the cup at ease. 11 free throw attempts a game, 86% from the line. Averaging 8.6 assists, 6.3 rebounds. His usage rate's approaching 40. This guy is unreal.
No, it's not normal.
Listen, we all know he wants to go left. He's a lefty. You can sit on his left hand. Okay, fine. He'll go right and then get back to his left and get to the cup and score anyway. He is carrying this team on his back right now, doing what he has to do to make sure that they stay in the playoff hunt. Hey, they started the year terribly, as we all know. They are 25-18 right now. Same record as the Boston Celtics. Interesting. They are in the 4th seed right now in the Western Conference. Only a game behind the Thunder for the 3 seed. Listen, 4 games back of the 2 seed. All I'm saying is Houston gets healthy late in the year, and guess what? They've got the experience. They went to the Western Conference Finals with the mighty Golden State Warriors and took them to 7 games. They get healthy at the right time, Daryl Morey makes a move before the trade deadline, February 7th. Who knows? Who knows? That's all I'm saying.
Love your arguments, per usual. And that's a really great point, too, that you made really quick before I go into my MVP pick midseason. Like you said, yeah, you know, some Houston fans might be a little nervous now because Harden's by himself and this and that, carrying the team. But personally, for me, this works. Let those guys take their time and fix their injuries because it's going to matter in the postseason when James Harden, not that he can't carry the team, but not as well.
Right. Well, because in the postseason, again, as we talked about, no back-to-backs. Teams can design defenses specifically, okay, we are stopping Harden tonight. And newsflash, if you look through Basketball Reference, which any NBA fan, if you want to know about stats and do the history of basketball, look at it. Everyone, with the exception of Michael Jordan and LeBron James, their shooting numbers, percentage-wise, goes down. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about the history of the NBA, right? Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Jalen, all these guys get slightly worse in the postseason because it's harder. It's just the nature. You're playing the best teams.
It's harder,
Guess
exactly.
What? You don't have those games against the terrible teams like the Phoenix Suns and all those terrible squads you get the stat pad against all year. No.
Yeah, not to mention you're going out there and you're playing your hardest game.
Right.
Every night.
You're playing playoff level defense now. Teams know what your tendencies are. They know what your plays are. They can blow it up.
You're not jogging back on defense. You're sprinting.
There ain't no 4 games in 5. None of that.
Nope.
So it stands to reason. So yes, it'll be interesting to see. But anyway, I love to know who your MVP pick is. I think I know.
I think you already know. I think we can unanimously agree on this that my midseason MVP pick is Harden.
Yeah.
I mean, you basically, I won't even spend a lot of time on it. You brought up a ton of amazing points. He's carrying the team on his back. Everybody's basically injured, and they're bringing up G League players, and he's still putting up these numbers. His limbs could probably be all broken, and he would still outscore another team. I just don't understand how the man does it, but he does.
He's incredible.
I mean, just everything he's doing on both ends of the floor, and he makes it look so easy.
That's the thing about defense. Like people are like, oh, he's a turnstile on defense. Listen, if you watch Rockets games, yes, he is not an all-NBA defender. No one says that. But listen, he's a strong body and will body somebody up in the post, get a steal, listen. When he wants to engage on that end, he's fairly good. So let's not get crazy.
I also want to note, too, that MVP, as we know, is a regular season award.
Yep.
So right now, he's levels above other people. So if he keeps playing like this, LBJ's on his way back.
Right. But got Giannis still.
If he keeps playing like this is going to be an easy decision. Yeah. And also, MVP. I want to take into account, and this is where I will go to bat for Harden, because mostly that's you, but it really means a lot that he's sacrificing his body in so many different ways right now with a lot of people injured, his right-hand men who, he really relies on, and vice versa. That is an MVP caliber player.
Absolutely.
The hits that he's taking, the fouls that he's taking, he's putting his body on the line.
He is.
I mean,
playing a lot of minutes.
Exactly. I think the most minutes right now in the NBA, averaging like 37.
Sure is. A lot of minutes.
That is an MVP caliber player. That is leadership. That is everything I see in an MVP. So
it's interesting. Yes. This is not a knock on Kyrie in any way.
No.
But
let's hear it.
Kyrie, this is how you lead, though, right? Like,
I agree.
This is how you lead a team.
Absolutely.
We've got injuries. Everybody's going down around me. I got this.
And I think he also needs to take into account, too, really quick with the Boston Celtics, that, like we said, he wasn't there last year.
He wasn't.
So
they made it to the
who
conference
led
finals
that
without him.
team last year?
Exactly right.
When he couldn't.
Exactly right.
Exactly. All right, let's move into Defensive Player of the Year. Who do you have, Jarod?
Listen, this man, not only is he playing elite-level defense, he's playing excellent offense as well. But this is the Defensive Player of the Year award, so we're going to do on that. He's so versatile. He can guard. These are the kind of players that he guards. He can guard Luka Doncic. He can guard Kevin Durant. He can guard Chris Paul. He can guard Steph Curry. He is so versatile defensively. Kemba Walker, Drew Holiday, Devin Booker. I mean, he's long, he's rangy. Talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder's small forward, PG-13, Paul George. I mean, he has been incredible. I'm just going over their numbers right now. The Thunder, first of all, number 1 defense in the league right now in defensive rating. Their on-court defensive rating, his on-court defensive rating, 99.9. That is insane how good that is. Like, that means per 100 possessions, he holds opposing players to under 100 points. That's less than a point per possession. That is excellent defense.
I love it.
He's great. And he is a key to why Oklahoma City is the number 3 team in the Western Conference right now, knocking on that on that number 2 spot behind Denver, and why if they were to play the Golden State Warriors in the playoffs in the conference finals, that'll be a tough out for Golden State because again, I talked before about how they don't score enough, and they don't because their only reliable scorer, at least shooting consistently, is probably PG. I mean, Russell's putting up good numbers, but he's not shooting well. They don't have any other shooters.
No, he's not shooting.
They have no
well.
other shooters outside of those two. That's it. They have
No.
nothing. So that would be a problem for them. But let me tell you, those games might be 98 to like 88. Like we might be going back in time because that's how good defensively Oklahoma City is and how great Paul George has been on the defensive end.
Absolutely. And you know what? Next to mine, I actually had PG-13 or Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Right now, mid-season, I'm going to have to go with PG-13 just because of the points you made as well. And we also have to remember, this is a man who fought his way back from injury and never thought his game would be the same again. And
this is the best season he's had in his career. His best season.
Amen.
By
This
far.
is the best season he's ever had, and this is why the Oklahoma City Thunder are sitting at the top of the defensive ranking right now. So PG-13 it is for Defensive Player of the Year. Tell me what you think about for Coach of the Year.
You know, I had a tough time with this one. I went with a tie. I went Mike Malone, Mike Budenholzer. Bud, obviously, coach of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Malone, the head coach of the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
And with respect to Nick Nurse, who's the Toronto Raptors head coach, they're having an excellent season. And respect to Dave Yeager, coach of the Sacramento Kings, who nobody thought would be where they are right now.
I never thought I would ever hear you say that.
Because as everyone knows, and 7-footers fans know, the Sacramento Kings are the original dumpster fire, right? They just are. But look, the Kings are 2 games above 500. They're currently out of the playoff race right now, only half a game, but they're considerably better. But anyway, those 2 coaches to me have really separated themselves. I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks have the best net rating in the league, plus 10. I mean, they are incredible. Giannis, as we know, MVP. He's unlocked point Giannis, right? They play 5 out. Giannis has got the ball in his hands, and they've really unlocked the potential on that roster. And again, what Malone's done with Denver, with Jokic, and they've had a lot of injuries, and to be half a game behind the Golden State Warriors in the West, excellent job by Mike Malone in Denver.
Incredible. Bucks coach, too, after the firing of Jason Kidd. We got to factor that in. I mean, nice job. So
Excellent.
Who is your pick, ultimately?
I'm going for Ty. Co-coach of the year.
That's okay. That's all right. I am going to go unanimous, although I do completely agree with you. I wish I can give out a million of these, especially this season, especially Doc Rivers. I mean, we have to know him as well.
Yes, Doc, yeah.
I'm going to go with Nick Nurse in Toronto.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm going to go with Nick Nurse in Toronto is because that major trade, he's dealing with a lot of more emotions with this play, and not to mention a lot of changes, and he's a new coach as well. A lot of people didn't believe in him, and nobody even thought that he would be in the running for this, and now look at Toronto. They're playing so well.
Speaking of Toronto, big game tonight in Boston against the Celtics.
Can't
8
wait.
o'clock, ESPN.
Exactly.
As soon as we got here, folks, that's what we're going to be watching.
Oh, we're running. And let me just say about Nick Nurse, too, and again, we don't know a lot about Kawhi Leonard personally and things like that, but from what we've heard and what we've seen, Kawhi Leonard seems like a very interesting person to coach.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you have this man who barely played last season because of injury, he seemed a little bit unhappy in San Antonio. That's a lot to deal with. That's a full package player that you need to get to know, skill-wise, personality-wise, everything. And not to mention he's a little quiet. So, you know, good for Nick Nurse. He's my pick. That's that.
Can't go wrong with that.
Alrighty, cool. 6th man of the year. I'm really interested to hear this from you.
Well, this is a player who I actually spoke to about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I talked about his...
It might be my pick.
I don't know if it is. But I spoke to him 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I said, it's like, you know, there's some buzz around you possibly making an all-star team.
Wait a minute.
And I don't know if it's the same person, but anyway, it is the Indiana Pacers' Domantas Sabonis. Sabonis averaging this season 15.2 points per game, 9.7 rebounds, just under 3 assists. His shooting splits, he is shooting 62% from the field, and he's shooting 76% from the free throw line. He is anchoring that second unit, playing extremely well for Indiana. An Indiana Pacers team, by the way, who is currently, if I'm not mistaken, the 3 seed in the East right now. Yep, 3 seed, 29-14. They have a +6 net rating, second best in the league, tied with the Celtics. They're incredible. I love that team. And Sabonis.
I like that pick.
I love Sabonis. Listen to his per 36 numbers. Per 36, Domantas Sabonis. 21.5 points per game, 13.7 rebounds, 4.1 assists. Listen, he is incredible. And he's just getting better and better and better. This is Domantas Sabonis, son of Arvydas Sabonis, legend in Europe, played in the NBA in his career. He's only 22 years old. I'm loving this young kid.
So much potential.
He really, it's interesting because when he and Vic were on Oklahoma City 2 seasons ago, everybody's like, oh, they're like, the Thunder got a better end of that deal. They got Paul George. Guess what? I think both teams kind of won that trade.
I agree.
Paul George is
like
playing.
You go back to the fit.
Paul George is playing great for Oklahoma City. He and Russ fit well, and Sabonis is perfect with that second unit, backing up Turner. I love what he's doing. He's my sixth man of the year right now. Love Domantas Sabonis.
I like it. This one I struggled with a little bit. Between two people, in my opinion. You're not going to be surprised about one, and you're going to love the other.
Okay, let's hear him.
Derrick Rose.
I knew that was coming. I knew that
I
was
know
coming.
you did.
I knew that was coming.
And
yeah, who's really? You're like
Spencer Dinwiddie.
It's interesting because you figured I would pick Spencer, being the whole
That's
Nets
why
thing.
I forgot that you picked Sabonis, but yeah. But ultimately, I am going to go with Derrick Rose.
Yeah. He's having a great year.
Only because, not only, but a big part of what swayed me toward him was, and I hate to throw around this word, but adversity.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, there's just a lot more to Derrick Rose's story.
And we're talking strictly about his basketball adversity, right?
Yes.
The injuries and all that stuff.
Thank you for pointing that out. Yes. On-court injuries, just the whole stigma. Imagine walking on the court every night and probably 99% of the people in that room are doubting you. And it is what it is. And I know that, some people might call me out for that kind of thing and it's about the game, this, that. But no, it's a mental game as well.
Yeah.
And Derrick Rose has stepped up when the T-Wolves have needed him the most, and especially with the Jimmy Butler drama and everything. So he's my sixth man of the year.
Love it.
Mid-season. That could change in a matter of minutes. Who knows?
It's all fluid, people.
Exactly. Rookie of the year, I think we can agree.
This one's all easy. I think we're both going Luka Doncic.
Exactly.
We don't need to spend a ton of time there. Look,
No.
Luka is incredible. His numbers right now, 20.2 points per game, 6.7 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 37% from three on just under 7 attempts per game. His per 36 numbers, 22.7, 7.5 rebounds, 5.7 assists. I mean, he's a special player.
He is.
I picked him at the beginning of the season because I was like,
you did.
He dominated the European League, won Eurobasket, was the MVP. I knew of all the rookies coming in out of this draft class, his floor was higher than all of theirs. He already played pro ball.
He didn't have to go through a lot of the things that the guys coming in did jitters.
What learning experience? Yeah. He's already played pro ball before in Europe. And that's the thing. We always are like, oh, is that even a real league? The Euro League is the second best league behind the NBA.
It's a real deal.
It is better than the NCAA. For all of you fans out there who don't know anything about basketball and think, oh, NCAA, Euro League's better. Adults play in that league. And it's what he's able to do, his next level passing, the step backs.
Everything. He's an all-around great player.
He's got it all. What I would love to see, again, like with Tatum last year, like with Donovan Mitchell, everybody needs to calm down and pump the brakes because I already hear reports of like, oh, All-NBA this year. I'm like, All-NBA this year?
He's leading a lot of All-Star votes right now.
Well, listen, that's a whole other rant for another day, which we'll get to next week because I have issues with that. I mean, listen, I love fans, but like,
come on,
some people are crazy.
Yeah. I agree.
They're
not basing it off of anything.
You got Derrick Rose ahead of James Harden in fan voting. Like, what? That's insane. Luka Doncic ahead of Kevin Durant. Let's stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Let's
stop.
Yeah.
But Luka's incredible, and he's having a great season. Rookie of the year.
Our last award, the most improved player, which I'm I don't think I took a look at yours, so I'm very interested to hear yours.
It's my man Pascal Siakam
from
the Toronto Raptors. Dude, Pascal's having a hell of a year. So last year, Pascal averaged 7.3 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 2 assists. This year, 15.2 points per game, 6.9 rebounds, 3 assists. I mean, he's just stepped it up on the Toronto Raptors, the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference. They've been kind of jockeying back and forth with Milwaukee. He's an exciting player, man. He's athletic, rangy, bouncy, can do so many different things out on the floor. 57% from the field. He's shooting 33% on threes. I mean, listen, he's a key piece for this Toronto Raptors team, especially if they have designs on going to, well, I was going to say going to the NBA Finals, but given like their past playoff history, advancing past the first round and making a conference finals.
Baby steps.
Baby steps, but with Kawhi Leonard and his experience, listen, the sky's the limit for this team. I love what I'm seeing out of Toronto, and I love what I'm seeing from Pascal Siakam.
Nice pick. Nice pick. You're going to find mine interesting.
Can I guess?
Yes, you can. You can.
De'Aaron Fox.
Oh my God. Do you know me that well?
Is it De'Aaron Fox?
Here, look it.
I figured it had to be De'Aaron Fox. And I said that because I had a tough time being like, ooh, because De'Aaron's playing so well. And we talked about how improved Sacramento is, and better than anybody thought they were going to be this year.
The team as a whole has improved.
Yeah.
He has improved. He's showing us immense speed.
He's so quick.
Oh yeah, he's everything. I feel like last year we didn't even ever speak his name.
You know, I want to look at De'Aaron Fox's stats right now because I know I had a tough time sort of like picking between them. Yeah, I mean, huge jump. 17.9 points per game, 7.3 assists. Woo! 37% from listen.
You can rethink yours if you want.
No. I'm thinking with Siakam, but no, De'Aaron's the reason why the Kings are playing as well as they're playing. And point guard is the toughest position to come into this league and play well right away. It's so hard.
As a second-year rookie. I mean, it's incredible. And like you said, I, too, firmly believe that he is the reason the Kings are playing so well. Yeah. You have this kind of person that's coming in here and changing the game for you guys.
I like it.
That's going to set the tone.
And the Kings are a fun league pass team. Like, they are fun. You stay up late night, you watch a little 10:30 tip, little league pass, like Sacramento Kings. I mean, I'm getting old. I don't know if I can stay up late anymore. But I'm
so glad we recorded that as well. You watch a little league pass at 10:30 tip to see the Sacramento Kings. I just want to make sure I heard that right. Okay, sounds good. A couple of notes here before we wrap it up. NBA All-Star is 4 weeks away. The 7-footers will be there.
We will be in attendance for sure.
NBA trade deadline is coming
February 7th, yeah.
Yep.
So we'll be back next week, and I think, Jenna, next week we'll probably talk about this All-Star voting. We got to get into
We'll get into it. We'll
what's
share our
happening
votes.
there. And then we'll talk about, too, because we're going to be close to the trade deadline. We got a couple weeks still, but we can talk about what's happening. It's been a quiet rumor mill, and what I think is going
very quiet.
What I think is going on is it is for sure a buyer's market, meaning a lot of teams want to buy. It sounds terrible. A lot of teams want to acquire players, but there aren't a lot of players available.
Let's see, February 7th. That's a Thursday, so we may have to double up on an episode or dedicate a whole special.
We just might.
Nice little teaser there for you guys. Alrighty, thanks for joining us per usual, and the 7-footers will be back next week.
We will. Peace. Dude, that was a good one, man.
That was fun.